Maybe we'll wait just a minute to see if anyone else joins us. Looks like the rain is coming though, Mr. Foreman.
I know. I'm a little just in time for dismissal today too.
I was just thinking, but at least you get to have outside recess, and then the rain can come and no mud.
And we're gonna get to the bus for the 5th grade trip today without rain walking to the bus. So that'll be massively
good. All right, so I have 10:04, so maybe we'll get started. Welcome everyone to our PTO principals chat. I know that it's a really busy time of the year, but hopefully we'll be able to provide some great information, especially in terms of where Power School is going to go in the future, as the rollout this year has been ongoing. We're lucky to have two amazing school leaders with us this morning. But before I introduce them, I just want to go over a couple of things, just a couple of reminders about general PTO business. We are still in need of a couple of officers to round our executive board for next year. If you have any inclination to do some financial stuff, really just writing checks, we would love for you to volunteer to be our assistant treasurer. I know Jen maybe Jen can put a thumbs up, right? Definitely would love some help with that. Please look out for some event sign-up geniuses. We have our 6th grade spring fling. We're still looking for some volunteers. Our staff appreciation week, which is May 1st through the 5th, which you'll get more details about. Our field day, which is May 31st and June 1st, and our end of the year event. So literally over the next month, we have so many opportunities for all of us to get involved with the Woodbury events. One last thing, we have our last restaurant night at Dewey's on May 22nd. And you'll get more information about that in our e-news and on our Facebook page. And I don't know if we're going to do some robocalls, but Mr. Foreman, we've been hearing that people love those robocalls, so we're going to keep rolling them out. We love them.
I aim to please. I'm happy to just blow up everybody's phone at 6 o'clock. It's my favorite.
I love it. Yes. And just one quick reminder. I'm probably talking fire here, but everyone needs to be background checked, and so the district is really putting the kibosh on just coming in and giving IDs. So if we can all get background, it just makes life so much easier for volunteers. Okay, so anything else, Brooke, that you want me to mention? Okay, so Mr. Foreman, you're up. Anything for our principal update? Tell us amazing things beyond, we're going to Severance Hall today, which everyone is so excited about in the 5th grade. I know there was a 6th grade camp meeting. Anything else out there?
So just a few updates, and a big thank you to Ms. Radefeld and Dr. Tino for being here today to give us some Power School updates. But a couple things to talk about. First, a big thank you to our PTO and all involved for support with the Spring Fling. That was really a fantastic event last Friday. We have our 6th grade Spring Fling on not today, but a week from today. We had about 170, 180 kids here last Friday. A lot of activity, a lot of dancing, lots of general joy. It was nice to see so many kids in the building and watch them navigate what for many of them was sort of their first experience of that size. And so the only way we generally get more comfortable with things is doing them more than once. And so I think that gave the kids a first step in that direction. And we could not have done that without the support of the PTO. There were tons of people there to just help provide more adult support and help hand out pizza and man different rooms. And so a huge thank you to everybody for that. We have our trips this week to the orchestra. I had the pleasure to go with the 6th grade yesterday to the Cleveland Orchestra, and our 5th graders are leaving in about an hour and a half to go as well. And so I'm excited for that. We went to see a show yesterday all about Ellis Island, and it was a combination of the orchestra along with some live actors, which the kids really enjoyed. I like traditionally here at Woodbury, many of the kids and teachers choose to kind of dress up a little bit, and so we had a lot of fancy stuff going on here the last couple of days, which I think was really nice to see. Additionally, we're in the full swing of preparation for camp. If you are the parent of a sixth grader or a future sixth grader, which all of you are, our camp experience is by team. Students are going out for a 2-day, 1-night experience to Beaumont Scout Reservation, which is about an hour from here. Things are in full prep mode. There is some paperwork we need families to fill out, and we're getting those in every day. And we're really excited and ready to go. I think we're looking at what our sixth grade camp experience, which for those of you who haven't are not as tapped into the Shaker history, have been going on here for about 30 plus years. And so the what does the 2023 version of that look like? We're excited to kind of really be able to do it this year and then learn and continue to make that the experience that our kids can really benefit from. And so I'm very excited about that. And that's the week of the 16th and 23rd of May. We'll have different groups of kids out at camp pretty much every day those weeks. And then finally, Sarah made a plug for Teacher Appreciation Week, and a big thank you to Rachel Martin and Becky Rocker, who are helping organize that. We've met a couple of times, and I know that they've got some emails they're going to send out to the parent community related to some support we need with some snacks. But additionally, the number one thing that I think most teachers and educators really appreciate and love more than anything around Teacher Appreciation Week are letters and drawings and things that kids do so beautifully. And so there's going to be a drive for those things as well to be brought in for teachers that week. And so keep your eye out for that. And on that front, I will turn it over to Dr. Rattino and Madame Rattefeld, who can talk to you. I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to congratulate Dr. Rattino. For those of you who are not aware, Dr. Rattino is sadly going to be leaving us at the end of the year to become the new superintendent of Riverside School, which was announced last week. And so obviously we are sad to lose him, but incredibly excited for that community to have such a strong leader there. So a big shout out to you, Chris, and I'll turn it over to you.
Wow, well, thank you for that. I do appreciate it. And it is bittersweet. I've truly enjoyed my time at Shaker, and I'm also excited about the future that it is for me. But I'm here kind of to talk about PowerSchool and give an update about where we are with PowerSchool. It's we knew going into it was going to be about a year-long transition, and we're continuing to transition into the capabilities and kind of really experience what can be with the parent portal and the way we use it for communication. I can also speak a little bit how we use it internally as well. But more today is about, not only as a student, but also as a parent, what's available and kind of what is a common place that some screens that you would see, as well as teachers as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to the parent login. One thing to note about PowerSchool is the app is very useful, but it is not as thorough, and it is not as much of as comprehensive as the actual parent portal. So the parent portal on the web really does make a difference. And I want to make sure everyone can see my screen that's up here. I should have to log into the parent portal. We good with that? All right. So this is again, the website's pssh.ohconnect.org/public, or if you just stopped it at .org, you would get to this parent portal. I've got a test account here to kind of sign into. If you don't have an account, the first thing you need to do is create an account. So you would click here and you would create an account with your email. And then you would then reach out to help desk or PowerSchool@shaker.org. We can get you the credentials to tie your students to you if you don't have that, or if you have a new student that you want to add, we can add those to you. We've sent those out throughout the year, but if you don't have that, please reach out to us and we'll get those to you. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And in this version, you can see that I have 2 test students. I've got Shaker Test Rater and Tuffy Test Rater, who are both linked to my account. So I can switch easily between the 2 of them. This is just basic navigation. For your student, what you would see is you would see this, and this is it's PowerSchool's quick lookup view. It would give you attendance, it gives you grades, it gives you kind of everything that's going on for us. So the attendance for the last 2 weeks, and this would be populated. You would also see the course grades as well as kind of everything else. Standards grades, we don't necessarily use standard grades right now in Woodbury on up. However, as we shift to next year, we're going to start reporting on those MYP grading criteria. So you'll see those attached to the courses in the standard grades, and kind of see those throughout the year as we go. So it's something we're really excited about, kind of leveraging a lot of the things we do with our IB program and being able to report those instances out to parents as you go. And so you can see growth along the year with your child. One of the things that we always kind of like to point out to our families is the student number is right here. We are so number driven. We want to make sure that every student number is the same. So when we ask what your student number is, or your student kind of looks for it, it's on everything they do in PowerSchool. So it is up there. The navigation screen on the left-hand side continues to build all the way down. But when we look at what is here for the navigation and all of that, the first thing, obviously, this is that home screen, the grades and attendance that we would land on, and the legend that's there. One of the things you can push and that you can see in the app is if your child has an absence that's noted, you should start to get push notifications, and if grades are updated, you can get those as well through the app. The website does not do push notifications, obviously, to the website, but that's one of the pluses about the app. But at times too, if you mark your child off sick and they're marked absent and then that absent is correct, you'll get multiple push notifications. So it can become sometimes a burden. So finding that sweet spot in the middle is key to this. As we move on, grade history, this would be historical grades as we shift through. There's not much in it now because there are historical grades found in PowerSchool, but as we continue to build with the program and have some history with it, you'll see past grades listed in this grade history spot. Locker information is the same. Eventually, locker information will be found here. I don't have any with my student, but you have locker number and the locker combination will post there when we assign lockers, and we will be doing that in PowerSchool, especially as they get in those upper and the middle school and the high school, they'll see those as well. Report card. This is where a report card would generate, and it generates in real time. So if there was a grade change made, you click on report card, that report card will populate and generate. You can see that in my case, my fake student doesn't have any grades, but it'll build the most recent report card. And it will kind of list those as we go. So these will look different as we build them, but that's where the report card is located. Attendance history gives me all of my history details of attendance for this school year. And again, it is just this school year. It does not represent historical data. Email notifications. This is a really important one because this kind of speaks out, how do you want to be notified from PowerSchool from these automated notifications? What do you want to receive? When do you want to receive it, and how often? So do you want to receive a weekly email that shows current grades, attendance, detailed reports, any announcements? We don't necessarily leverage the announcements as of yet. What email do you want it to be sent to another email other than the one that we have on file? This we pull from what you signed up with, and then how often? Do you want to assign them for all of your students? And then if you wanted to send a now one, you could actually send it now. If I click this and hit submit, I would get an email at my own point saying, I want this now to see what it looks like. Some of the new things that we're really excited about opening up is this document library. So if you click on your own version of document library, you'll start to see some things generate in there. And document library, we are slowly building out as we get documents. In this case, I'm not going to have any for mine, but what you'll see here is you'll see any type of, if they did formalized testing this year. So if there was the Naglieri, those results we pushed out, we pushed them out via email, but they also get stored here in a PDF format. So we're going to keep state test scores. Once we get the state test results, those parent reports will be found here in your document library as we go. We'll continue to push things out in that document library that is a place to kind of save it. Saves it in a cloud-based folder that is secure to you. But it'll save those things because I know as a parent myself, we'll get them in the mail and I'll put it somewhere in a file and I can't remember where I put it. At least here it's in one common place and it's digital, and it's sent out to you that way. So as those documents build, we'll have those as well. MAP reports, we will send out the fall report as well as the spring family report into these. We don't do the winter one just because it is kind of labor intensive to go there. But we do want to send out a couple reports a year. Teacher comments, these are when teachers put comments into the grade book. You will see them here specifically. You will also see them under grades and on the report cards. Forms is an area that we're building and continue to grow with. And it's a part of the program we are super excited about and the potential that's there. Right now, the forms that we have is we do have our online withdrawal or transfer form. So if you are leaving the district and you want to start the withdrawal process, you would go ahead and click on this form and it would it'll populate a lot of the information for you, so you don't have to type it in. And then it will also, as soon as you submit it, it will notify appropriate people to contact you to let you know. In fact, a lot of our forms have this notification component as well. There's a request for non-participation in state testing. If there's some sort of state testing that you don't want to do and you've discussed with your counselor about those, you could go ahead and fill this out and it would capture your digital signature and we can get that as well. In terms of absences, if there's an absence that is coming up that you know of and you want to fill out that form to let the school know, you can fill out that prearranged student absence form with the dates, the reasons, and all that, and it notifies the attendance people as well, so they can get those dates scheduled and they can make arrangements and send some things to the teachers that, hey, your child is not going to be in school on these dates. That kind of helps. The College Credit Plus application is there. That's for students in Ohio and high school 7 and grades 7 through 12. CCP does not apply to Woodbury students right now, but that's something for if you have an older student or something else you're interested in the CCP program, it's there. The next one is a bus stop change request form. This used to be a printout, scan, and print back. We've moved into the 20th century and potentially in the 21st with this, where you fill this out, it notifies our transportation department that this is a request that you have, and they can contact you with there. If your child does qualify for gifted services, you would get this form pushed to you from our gifted intervention specialist in the form of a WEP that talks about the services that we offer. We also have other forms that can get pushed out this way as well, and are continuing to build them, where the form will be initiated from a Shaker staff member and then get pushed out to you for you to see a review, and then it would kind of come back that way. So that's a different way that we use the forms. They're all of our forms are not just parent initiated. Some of them are school initiated and they come back to you as well. Another new section that we're building out is student reports. This would be, and we have very few in here now, but this is where we would be able to both email you and post a report to the portal that we would publish out. Things that we are looking to do with this would be eventually potentially a transcript, any other sort of kind of public report that we can pull things in from PowerSchool. We're continuing to build on the ideas that are there. Schedule and selection verification forms for our high school students. So those types of things they would come to your email as well as they would be in there as well. Class registration. This is where our students, and only our student, in the student portal, our students will be able to select courses for the next school year. So at Woodbury, they would select, I think they're selecting their music, but I'll refer that to Madame Radefeld to kind of go with some of that. But this is where our students would log in during an advisory, pick their classes, and they do have, oh no, they pick their language at Woodbury. I got that one right. That's the one that they're doing. So they'll have their language choice for next year because they're leaving the carousel. So our 6th graders would pick that. Our 7th graders, our rising 7th graders, would also go in here, and I believe they have already. They go in and they pick their music that they want to do, their art. So whether it's a fine art or visual art that they want to pursue in the middle school, they'll pick it there. Our high school students go and they select all of their courses through the class registration when it is open. So they work with their counselors to do that. The balance tab will actually deal with, and it links directly to pay schools. So it pulls from pay schools. As you can see, I don't pay fees for the fake students, so they're still there and I still owe them. But when you click on this, it will take you to pay schools. It actually, we are working, and it should eventually have a true one-to-one or sign on, and it will take you right to pay schools, and you won't have to log in, and it'll authenticate to it. We're working on getting that worked, single sign-on worked out with pay schools to make sure that we have that there. At the start of next school year, and in August, you're going to learn to click on this one. This is the My Schedule. When the enrollments come out in the new classes, it will appear in My Schedule for the beginning of the school year. We will have some kind of caveats with that, and I'll talk about when those things become available, so when you can see your teachers, and what needs to happen until you can see your teachers a little bit earlier than others, prior to the first day of school, if you have certain things filled out. So school information just talked about, we're at Woodbury High School, or I'm sorry, Woodbury Intermediate School. Phone numbers, we do not put the map on there for security reasons. Account preferences, this is my account that I've set up. The language is the students that I linked to it. If I needed to add a new student, I would do it here under account preferences. I can go ahead and add a new student and put in that information that I have there. This next one, returning student registration, will go live probably within the next few weeks. This is the back to school page. And once it's live, it'll take you to the Power School enrollment where you complete all of the, make sure your address is kind of the same. You would look at and fill out all the permissions for the next school year, as well as sign off on field trips, sign off on all that stuff. Make sure that you know that the accounts and contacts are there that you want, as well as email addresses and all that are updated. It will go ahead and update that. We'll have that starting, like I said, we're looking to probably within the next 2 weeks, middle of May, roll that out to parents to get that out early. If you fill that out early, we can kind of notify that checks off a box in Power School. Then we can also release, you'll be able to see your schedule for the next school year. Test results is one of the underutilized things. Anytime we give some sort of formal assessment at Shaker, we are building this out and we are putting these tests into Power School so you can see, and it kind of lists all the data for all your student. So in yours, if you click on your students, you should be able to see 2 math tests. You will not see end of course tests, but you'll be able to see different types of tests that are there. If they took the COGAT or the ANDAT, you'll see those. The OSTs, those are our state testing. When we get those back, we'll put those in. Also, there's a guide to what the scores mean, because we can give you a bunch of numbers, but if we don't kind of link you to a guide as to what it means, this will really kind of help you work through as to what each of those goals are, what that means for each of them, to kind of help with some of that interpretation. This is also seen by any administrator can click on this for any student, as well as our teachers have access to these scores as well. So they can kind of, differentiate instruction and use this data to kind of drive what they're doing as well. Adaptive Scheduler doesn't necessarily have anything yet to do with Woodbury, but and neither does Graduation Pathways. But Graduation Pathways, as your child even enters 8th grade and then into the high school, that talks about the new screens and the requirements for Ohio graduation and how you get to that. So what it looks like, and you'll be able to see here as you meet with your counselor at those upper levels, you'll be able to see the credits that they've earned. A student has to score competent in algebra and also ELA2. So then those scores post, it'll show you kind of where you're at. And then readiness, and these are those Ohio State seals that they'll earn when they get in high school. So this is a real nice way to work with your counselor to track the path of graduation. My daughter's a junior or a rising junior, so kind of looking through that, and we're talking about graduation now and seals and making sure that she has all those things there. A screen like this really does help to see that, yes, we've checked all these boxes, these are the classes you needed, and then all is set for graduation. And we know that ahead of time, because there's nothing worse than kind of in the middle of your senior year and then scrambling because, oh wait, I got to get this last seal, because they are new for high school graduation. So I kind of ran through a whole lot in a real short time. But that's where Power School is and where we're going with it. And I guess I'll open it up to the floor for questions and stop sharing.
Anne, do you want to add anything, or Madame Radefeld, I should say, do you want to add anything from the teacher side about how you all are utilizing Power School, or things that you would hope to be able to do with it before we open the floor for questions? Or
so I think the only thing that I would add is Chris sort of glossed over it, but know that what we're putting in is real time. So if there's something that I'm putting in that like a report card grade where I'm putting in comments, know that it's all real time. So just be patient. I know some teachers are still trying to figure things out. And if there's a mistake made, just, have a little bit of grace. This has really been a big learning curve for a lot of the teachers. So when they do it real time, I had people, even this run around for 3rd quarter, they asked me again, they said, well, when do parents see it? And I said, parents see it immediately. And so we're trying to make sure that they understand, but again, just, have some patience with us. Also, if there's a mistake, just from a parent perspective, I always want to let the teacher know, because, sometimes we might not know that there has been a mistake. For example, one of the things is that every assignment defaults to 10 points. So when we have a 5-point assignment and I'm going in and I'm thinking it's a 5-point assignment, if I'm giving a 5 out of 10 to everybody and I'm thinking, yeah, this is great, but then I might have some students come back to me and say, why did I get a 5 out of 10? It's because I've forgotten that every assignment defaults to 10 points. So just, make sure that if there's something that doesn't look quite right, you might want to let the teacher know.
So I know one question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, just real quick, if I can add, I think it's a good segue. We also want, and I feel this same way as a parent as well, or for myself as a parent, like we want to develop healthy habits as well for kids and for parents in terms of how often to be checking some of these items. We do have some students who are, and many students who are highly motivated by grades. They want to do very well in school. They've received a lot of really good messaging around the effort that we want them to put into school. But I have had conversations with some kids over the course of the year about you do not need to check this every day, or you do not. And for some kids, like so much of their life, they're doing things very regularly on the computer. Power School might be something you want to check twice a month, or you might want to have a time with your family that you look at it. But I know those are things that we're talking about as it relates to like healthy, having and supporting families and students making healthy choices at an early age, so that when they get up to the high school, they've developed some good habits about how to check this and have it not create additional stress or anxiety in their life.
So I guess on that note, how is the question I have is how are teachers utilizing, feels like so many things are in Google Classroom and not necessarily on Power School, or how are these two platforms being integrated? Oftentimes, if you have a missing assignment on Google Classroom, it simply drops off once it passes the due date. And so I know that that's really frustrating and confusing for a lot of the kids. So it's interesting to hear that you're talking about checking Power School, because I found that oftentimes things are not uploaded to Power School and we're missing it because it's not on Google Classroom. So where should students be looking? How do they manage that? Is there going to be a standard operating procedure for teachers and how to use these tools together? What would be helpful in that regard?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And that's one of our disappointments in this shift is we were told when we worked with the Power School company moving forward that Google Classroom integration would be ready day one. It is not. It's in beta right now. We do have some teachers who are testing it, but eventually by next year, when Google Classroom, it will sync to Power School, and it syncs throughout the day. So items in Google Classroom that are graded in Google Classroom will write over in the assignment, will write over into Power School. We have a few teachers who are kind of, they are testing right now. So some of them work a lot and are working directly with the developers. What we've learned is Power School is having some struggles working with Google. They're not playing real well in the sandbox together at times, and a lot of times that involves money going back and forth. But I think that we are in a confident place where the Google Classroom integration is to a point next year where we could roll it out from day one, and our teachers are really excited about having that integration because they grade it once, and it will go into Power School as the reporting platform. And the goal here. In using Power School, honestly, one of the things from a parent perspective is to have a single sign-on for parents. This is the one-stop shop for you where you go and you'll be able to see information from kind of everything that involves school. And I think one thing I glazed over and missed is, getting back to those wonderful robocalls from Mr. Foreman, there's a school messenger app in there that links. If you want to update your phone preferences for school messenger, you have that ability. So you can say, I only want to hear phone calls to this number, or I only want to hear attendance calls to this number. And you can also see if your numbers are active. Sometimes our students realize that we do send out these robocalls and they'll block it on cell phones. So you can go ahead and check those. And kind of see, well, this is not the case. And I want these numbers coming back, and kind of reactivate those in there. So when you click on School Messenger, it takes you to that account to update your communication preferences with our messaging system, which is a new thing to really make sure that those kind of updates are there. So moving forward, it will become the one place where we kind of push everything out. We're trying to take Google Forms and move Google Forms away from that to here, because we can push them out, we can control them, and we can also see kind of really, repopulate with the correct information. A lot of times we'll ask parents to fill in information like student numbers, and it's a transposing issue and all that. That really PowerSchool fills that up for you as well. And if you don't have to type it, why bother if we can pull it from the information we have to make sure it matches.
Can I just add on something just to respond to your question, Sarah, is that when I put things into Google Classroom, sometimes it might be like an electronic distribution of a paper of some sort. Like I'm looking around my desk and I'm thinking of all the things that I have here that I want the kids to have an electronic copy of something. So that goes out through Google Classroom. Once I put a grade into PowerSchool, that means that I have expected them to be done with whatever activity. That means that it's been in Google Classroom, it's had an assignment posted there as an assignment, not a material, and then I've assigned a due date to it. I might not necessarily do all of my grading in Google Classroom because for me particularly, sometimes I actually hand grade things. So I just want to be cautious when, I know Chris is talking about like the automated factor of like forms, but for me, if I'm grading a writing assignment and I actually want to see the kids handwriting something, then I'm probably grading it on paper and I'm putting the results directly into PowerSchool. So for me, that PowerSchool is coming after the assignment is finished. And I don't know other teachers, but I'm just, I just want to give you a heads up that they still operate in two different platforms. Like there's Google Classroom, which is the distribution, and there's PowerSchool, which is the collection of the grades. Does that clarify it?
Yeah, no, and I think that makes total sense. I think that, and hearing, Dr. Rotino's response, sounds like what we had been told that it would be more integrated, and that was frustrating. I'm sure it's frustrating for everybody, but understanding, at least even if at the beginning of the year it's not, like understanding what each team or each teacher's model is, because it's very, right now, like that's why I said maybe like a standard operating procedure like this, just brief one-sheeter from the team to say, this is, well, you'll be able to look for things. Because I think Mr. Foreman, like that will eliminate a lot of that, like constant checking, it's not there, and how does this work? And so students have the, on your daily, you look for your assignments, whether or not it's assignment or whatever. But yeah, just understanding exactly what Madame Rodefeld said, for each team or each teacher, this is what the class should be looking for. Setting those expectations up front could be helpful. So I don't know if anybody else has. One other thing, I don't see any other questions, I'll ask another one. So Chris, you mentioned the forms, being able to fill out the bus stop form, change form. How are we on getting, here's the bus integrated into PowerSchool?
So I said this wouldn't be a here comes the bus forum, because that's one that I don't have much control over. Bus route information will be in this PowerSchool for the beginning of the year, but in terms of here comes the bus and that app that's not there, it doesn't right now integrate into kind of the push notifications that come with here comes the bus, and we don't anticipate that to happen anytime soon. Here comes the bus was purchased not necessarily in tandem with PowerSchool, and it was kind of one that's there. I know our transportation is really looking to utilize PowerSchool a bit more for some of this integration that goes to it. So I think that's a thing where we really want to make sure we can push it out. As to even getting back to Madame Rodefeld's issue of, and the team notifications in those reports next year, you're going to start to see, things pushed out in those reports as well as emailed that are our teams are going to have some access to leverage some of those. So some of those beginning of the school newsletters or welcome type pages, they're going to look a little different, and they could come through those reports. So the ability is there. We're working to kind of roll some of that over the summer. To get them in the hands, well, instead of emailing out to parents, they would push it out, post it in the portal, as well as you would also receive it via email, like a PDF type thing. But it would also be in reports that you can see. It also allows to those reports also allow for things like, hey, have you seen this? And then allow for signatures, like a virtual signature and a check to sign off. So we're continuing to actually build the plane as we fly it, as we bring it out. It was a huge transition to move student data of 4,600 students and making sure that all the historical records into it. And we're at the point now where we're really leveraging it. And I think next year especially, you're going to really see the benefit in making the shift and kind of changing some of the things, as it is a lot more comprehensive. Those things are all in one spot and it kind of fits there. And the other thing that I really like and is really important to me is it's secure. It's locked up, it's in a secure spot, and it's information that's secure on our server, as well as secure at your home. So it's not just available for, you have to get into it to look at it that way.
I just want to say thank you to everybody. I have students coming, so thank you. I appreciate being here. And if you have any questions, I'm sure you can let Eric know and he'll direct them to me. Thank you.
Thanks, Madam Radefeld. Does anyone have any other questions about PowerSchool or any other technology while we have Dr. Rutino here? Questions? Eric, any final thoughts?
No, I appreciate the presentation just as much as the principal of Woodbury and as the parent of a fourth grader. That was highly informative for me. Excuse our bell. Sorry for that. But thank you very much, Dr. Rutino.
Well, thank you for having me, and I hope you all have a great weekend and enjoy the upcoming end of the year activities.
Thank you so much, and best to you as you return to Riverside. Thank you so much. Bye. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for attending.